Okay, so let's talk about nasogastric tubes. That means that we're putting a tube through the nose down into the stomach. The doctor will order these, and you have to have a doctor's order. They can be used to give medications to decompress the stomach, whether to remove air, to remove gastric secretions. Maybe your patient has a bowel blockage. Maybe they've had a stroke and they can't swallow. The doctor will determine whether or not they want them to have a nasogastric tube. So there's two different kinds. What comes in your kit is called a Salem sump tube, and that's what we'll be checking off with. This type of tube here can be used to hook up to wall suction to suck stuff out of the body, and it can be used to put tube feedings in. It can be used to put medications in, both crushed medications and liquid medications. It can be used to lavage the stomach or wash the stomach out. It's kind of bigger. But again, this one can be hooked up to suction. The other type of tube that you may the doctor may order is called an enteral feeding tube, or a Daboff tube. It looks different. This is not in your kit. This is strictly a tube feeding NG tube or nasogastric tube. The only thing that can go in this is liquids, liquid in the form of tube feedings or liquid medications. It is so narrow that you can't really put anything solid into it, or it will clog it up. Again, these go in through the nose, and I'm going to open this one so you'll see a little bit of a difference. Again, it's called a Daboff. They're typically white with this orange end on them. They're long, they're very flimsy, like a noodle. At the bottom, it has a weighted tip to it that will show up on x-ray. And on the inside of it, it has got a guide wire, so that when you get them in, then the x-ray can confirm that it is in the correct spot, and it also makes it a little firmer. These are hard for the patients to swallow because they're so flimsy. But again, these are just for liquid medications and liquid tube feedings, nothing solid. They clog so easily. I will tell you a little helpful hint, nursing hint to get these in. They're so flimsy, and this is usually because your patient's had a stroke. Old school nurses, we used to fold these up and put them in the freezer and get them cold. That made them a little stiffer, so it was easier to swallow. If these become clogged, because tube feedings are full of protein and they will get really clogged really easily, helpful hint that you may not know, if they become clogged, a little Coca-Cola or Sundrop put in them will dissolve the protein out, or meat tenderizer will also dissolve the protein out and make them flush easier. But again, this has got a guide wire in it. You can see that's metal, so that the x-ray verification can be seen. They've also got a vent for air to escape, but nothing holds this in place. Look, there's no balloon or anything, so you have to have it secured to the nose and taped. If you look on YouTube or just Google NG tubes gone wrong, you will see the importance of doing these correctly. Google it, and you will see all kinds of x-rays of people with NG tubes wadded up into their cranial cavity, where it's went through the skull and wound into their brain. You will see these that have been put into the lung instead of the stomach. So that's why you have to pay attention that you're doing them right. It is not a sterile procedure, it is a clean procedure, but you have to do it correctly and pay attention, because you could do the patient